lot has changed since 2020. And I think movies have gotten a lot worse. Now, before anyone goes and comments about how Shang-Chi, The Legend of the Ten fucking Rings, is the greatest cinematic masterpiece, and I just can't understand its complex masterpiece, I just need you to shut the hell up. Because we're not talking about that, okay? We're talking about movies as a whole from 2020 to now, or I guess not now, but 2024. And I'm not trying to say that every movie was horrible, right? From 2020 to 2024, because there were definitely some really good movies that came out. But the amount of just filler movies and just straight trash that has come out is honestly kind of crazy. So let's get right into it. 2020 movies, not gonna lie, not a single movie was memorable from 2020. And that godforsaken remake of Mulan, that was awful. That I don't even have any words for that one. But I don't even want to think about it. And that Birds of Prey Harley Quinn movie, that was even worse, I have to say. I mean, I don't think too many movies even came out that year because of the whole pandemic. I mean, this year kind of gets an excuse for the whole pandemic because, yeah, a lot of the studios shut down because of it, and they couldn't really make the movies that they wanted to because of that. But it gets kind of excuse, but still, for that year, that was awful. 0 out of 10. But after that whole year of 2020, I think a lot of new movies came out, or a lot of new ideas at least, because 2021 had some decent movies. Not all of them were terrible, but there were definitely some good new concepts, like Free Guy. And Dune came out that year too, and it was an amazing movie. That was really good. Free Guy was definitely, it was like refreshing. It was a new movie that no one really kind of had that idea, I would say. It was kind of like if somehow you live under a rock and never seen Free Guy, it was all about basically a GTA character, like one of the pedestrians you run over all the time while you're driving around the city. They gain like consciousness and everything. And it was just a really, really great movie, I would say. Dune, everyone was down it, trying to call it a knockoff Star Wars somehow, even though it was based off a whole video game. And Dune is actually like a really good idea. And I personally very enjoyed that movie a lot. And then also that year, we had Godzilla versus Kong. No, not that old-ass one. The new one. Yeah, that one. But who doesn't love just two giant monsters destroying cities? Just imagining what type of international debt and how much money it would be to put that city back up. It's kind of funny sometimes just to see that. Besides those movies, though, some honorable mentions of 2021 would have definitely been the Matrix Resurrections movie. That made absolutely no sense in that movie. I'm not gonna lie. Like, every Matrix movie has never made sense. At least me. Maybe I'm just so stupid. Not gonna lie, I'm pretty stupid. But none of the Matrix movies ever make sense. And watching that one made even less sense because I thought, like, the Matrix was dead and then he somehow comes back to it and, like, I don't even know. I don't even want to try to explain that movie because that was so horrible. Besides The Matrix, you have also another terrible movie that came out. Shang-Chi. Oh my god. Nothing keeps me up more at night than that movie. It's awful. It is awful. I swear to God. I mean, just the story was awful. I could not take it. It was like a 3-year-old sat there at nursery, at daycare, man. They just sat there and wrote that up. It was awful. It was the worst thing I have ever watched. I don't even want to think about that movie. Like, genuinely, it was so awful. The villain of the movie made it made sense, but it was just so bad. They made him out to look so strong, but he was genuinely so, okay. Let's just move forward because I could talk about how terrible that movie was all day long. But for 2021, 4 out of 10. I mean, it had good movies, but the sheer amount of just terrible movies, plus Shang-Chi was in that year, was just completely awful. Now for 2022, this year, it had so many reboots and sequels of movies we didn't even need. And it just made the plot of each movie even worse. And oh my god, the MCU this year had probably the worst movies they ever put out. Like, I swear, these are the worst movies that they put out. Doctor Strange, ass. Thor, Love and Thunder, that was mega ass. Wakanda Forever, I'm not gonna lie, I forgot about that movie. I just looked it up, but I don't even remember the plot of that movie. But this year there was an amazing movie, and you already know what it probably is, The Batman. All right, that was a great movie, beautifully shot. Like, it showed the young Batman in year 2, just amazing. It was awesome. And then another good movie, definitely Bullet Train. Like, Netflix popped out for that one because that was an amazing movie, and I'm pretty sure everyone loved that movie that watched it. I don't think there can't be a single bad review because that movie was amazing. Then that Nicolas Cage movie, that was another banger. I mean, they had 3 great bangers, but all the bangers they have, there of course has to be the worst monstrosities to come out. Yes, I'm talking about Morbius and Black Adam, because what the fuck were those movies? They were literally written by ChatGPT or some brain-dead 12-year-old that's dreaming up superheroes while in a road trip, because those movies were awful. The plot was just the most base thing I have ever seen before, and it was just awful. So 2022, 2 out of 10. Now for 2023, more forgettable and just filler movies. But there's always some diamonds in the horse shit. Napoleon and Oppenheimer were great movies. Probably best movies that year. Yeah, I know John Wick 4 came out that year. But to me, it was boring with the ending. The ending killed the movie for me. Like, I got like the whole gist of the movie, but I feel like, I don't know, the ending could have been a lot better because it left so much open, and I didn't really like the ending. But another terrible movie that year was The Flash. I mean, actually, they had a lot of bad movies. They had The Little Mermaid. They had that Transformers movie that was awful. Elemental, I mean, that was a kid's movie, but it was still awful. And then they went above and beyond and had to make a new Indiana Jones, and they completely ruined it because I don't even want to talk about that movie, about how bad it was. They genuinely ruined my childhood memories of putting the VHS tape of Indiana Jones in and watching Indiana Jones, because nothing is worse than that Indiana Jones movie. They had like 4 different endings. Some executive just couldn't figure out which ending to choose, so we sat there and just went, oh, I got an idea, and duct taped all 4 of those endings to the end of the movie. Like, that movie could have ended like 45 minutes earlier. Like, I just didn't get the whole fucking, 20 endings they had at the end. That was just a terrible movie. But still, with the bangers this year, or at least in 2023, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. Now for 2024, every movie in 2024 was just pretty bad. Like, that was awful. Except for Deadpool and Wolverine and Dune 2. I mean, those were the only, like, at least decent movies. I feel like we've having this trend where you have one year you have some good movies, and then next year you have the complete worst movies you've ever seen, and they're all produced by Marvel or Disney, or both of them now, since they're the same company, I guess, since one bought out the other one. But they're just awful. And then, like, Madam Web in 2024, what was that movie? Genuinely, like, that was so stupid. That was the dumbest movie I've ever seen. 2024, 1 out of 10. Just to wrap this whole video up, I'm going to give 2020 and 2021 just a little bit of excuse because the pandemic, and I know that delayed a lot of their process for the movies, but still, not really any good movies came out. 2023 had some great movies. 2024 had no excuse. That was completely awful. 2025, this year, probably not gonna have like any good movies. So I mean, I already watched that Captain America one, and I could make a video on it just itself about how terrible it is, and the only good thing about it is the Red Hulk. Like, I literally don't think anything else in that movie is interesting. All these movies can't compare to the great and glorious GOAT of all movies, and that's Garfield, The Tale of Two Kitties, because we all know that's the best movie ever. And I'm never watching Shang-Chi again. But thank you for sticking around. If you just heard how awful my opinions are, I know, you can tell me in the comments. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and as always, peace.